Hello and welcome to my video. If you're new here, my husband, dog and I recently moved from Sydney to our 100-acre property in Tasmania. I hope you will join us as we discover the most beautiful parts of Tasmania, learn to live in a tiny house and a large property, and eventually start building our house. Hello, excuse the sunnies, I'm recovering from a migraine. Today's video is a compilation video of all the times we've moved our bus in this year. So I will link all the videos that the footage came from originally. I've sort of shortened them up a bit so it's not forever. Basically, I decided to start doing these semi-regularly. I haven't decided how often. These sorts of videos to help me get to monetized. So if you don't know, monetization comes if you get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours in the last 12 months. I'm getting close to the 1,000 subscribers, but I'm not getting that close to the 4,000 watch hours. Anyway, long story short, I thought I'd make these longer videos out of content that I already have. If you feel like you want to help me get monetized, feel free to watch them all the way through, or put it on and do something else, whatever you want. But monetization would help my channel because at the moment, I've mentioned earlier in another video, I'm having some issues with some of the equipment that I use and I'm not currently working, so I can't really justify sort of spending more money on it. I don't want to do a Ko-fi or buy me a coffee or anything like that because I know that only my family members and friends would donate, and that's not what I'm here for. I don't want to be scrounging off my friends and families. And also, I don't know that I feel comfortable asking randoms on the internet for money. So that's why I'm doing that. I'm also going to be adding more shorts, that sort of thing, for as long as I'm not working. So I can't commit to it long term, to more shorts and these sorts of videos long term. But, anyway. Long story short, I've been talking for 2 minutes. I hope you enjoyed the video. Okay, so we're about ready to go. Luke just needs to pump up the tires before we go. We would normally be about 4 hours down to Wodonga, where we're staying the night. In this bus, it'll probably be more like 6 hours. We left at 10:30, 23 degrees Celsius from the looks of that. The drive from Sydney to Melbourne is a long one. You get some stunning views, but it is a very long drive. I tried to capture some of the views. It looks different from moment to moment sometimes. It goes very flat and then sometimes very mountainous. We ended up stopping a couple of times to fuel up and make sure everything was okay with the bus. I actually had packed some food because we were going to be traveling with our house. The bus is a decked out house and we had a fridge and a stovetop. So I'd packed some pasta and some bread to put in the freezer, and we could have for toast in the mornings, and some cheese and meats and stuff like that. And it turns out our fridge wasn't working. So we ended up having to eat Macca's the whole way, which was not ideal. It was a really hot day, especially as we got further south. We left, it was 23 degrees and now it's 34 degrees. And that was not the end of it. No aircon in the bus, and the fan wasn't doing enough to cool us down. Alright, so it's 6 o'clock and we've made it to Wodonga. Luke's currently fueling up, but we might continue down a bit further just because it's currently 35 degrees Celsius and it's not going to cool down tonight here. The lowest it's going to get at 6 a.m. or something is 26 degrees Celsius, and we just know we're not going to sleep. So we're going to keep going south. In at least about an hour south from here we can find a truck stop where it's going to cool down at night. So true heat wave here. We don't have aircon in the bus. We pulled those off because they didn't work. So we did end up deciding to keep going down to Glenrowan. We stayed the night. It didn't cool down much more, probably a couple degrees more. And honestly, we were ready to take 2 degrees less. Although I didn't get to sleep till after 3, I still managed to get to sleep. The trip down to Melbourne was pretty uneventful. It was quite nice in that it was getting cooler as we went south. I think when we left was about 32 degrees in Glenrowan, and by the time we arrived to Melbourne it was in 21 degrees or so. Then we got to Geelong fairly early. It was 25 degrees there, and I had a lovely nap. We parked on the foreshore and slept the night there because the crossing was a day crossing. I had to speed up this footage of getting onto the ferry because it's quite slow, and there was also a lot of times when we got told to stop, so cut those out. I used the time on the ferry, well, the first couple of hours anyway, to edit my sketchbook tour video, which was my latest video. So while we were in the bay, it was really still and I was able to do that. Once we got out of the heads, I was feeling a bit off, even with the travel sickness tablets that I'd taken. I sped up the opening of the door, but we were the first in line to get out of the ferry. So we stayed the night in a campground in Latrobe, which had some lovely cows nearby. We were expecting it to be about a 4-hour drive to the property. This is where we hit a snag. Okay, so a little update. There's a fair bit of road noise because we are stranded on the side of the road. Luke saw some smoke in his revision mirrors, so our side mirrors, so we pulled up where we could, and we're dripping oil everywhere. We've got someone from a truck maintenance company fixing it for us, but it's been a few hours and yeah, it's getting quite warm in the bus. So hopefully we'll be on our way back soon. I took the time to finish editing the video that I'd started on the boat. 6 hours later, we were ready to get moving. And the rest of the trip was fairly uneventful. We had skipped lunch that day, so we were pretty hungry. Stopped at a truck stop. Alright, so it's about 9, well, sorry, I don't know what time it is, but it's not 9 o'clock anymore, but we got here about 9 tonight, and then we went into our friend's place and had some drinks and stuff, so that was a big day, big trip. This was meant to be one of the easier days in our trip, which ended up being one of the longer days in our trip, but hey, I got to finish editing my video. That I didn't get to finish on the ship, so you lose some, you win some, you know, whatever. Turns out tomorrow is a public holiday, it's a Monday, public holiday here in Tassie, so I get to see my sister, and she couldn't come tonight. And I am now going to bed. It's a lot of noises happening. Alright, so we've got some good news today. Today's the day we're moving the bus onto our land. So we're, as Luke said, literally moving the house. Moving house. What we need to do is tidy up and get anything that's on vertical surfaces that might shift around. Anything that's on horizontal surfaces that might shift around away. And then we'll need to lock up the doors. The cabinets, doors, the drawers, that sort of stuff. Anything that might topple over, lay it flat, and just generally tidy up because, whew, we're messy people. Let's go. Let's get started. Luke's already started, but let's keep going. This part took longer than we expected. There was just so much stuff out that needed to be put away. The night before we'd emptied the black water tank, so that was already done. And then we wanted to empty the grey water tank and fill up our fresh water tank while we still had the opportunity. This laundry basket's been in my way for a week or so glad to be putting that down under the bus. So right now we're pretty much ready to go. We just needed to clean up the yard a bit. There's some cardboard all over the place from the dogs. When we've got something in a box and not put it away in the bin soon enough, the dogs have attacked them and put them everywhere. got toffee in a shot. So what we did was our friend whose house we were staying at and Luke went the long way around to our land so that he could arrive from the right direction, and I went the short way, so I was ready to film by the time they arrived on our driveway. So when we first arrived, this is how unlevel the bus was, and I always thought it'd be okay to be in an unlevel house. Surely it's not so bad. It was like I was on a moving ship. I cannot get sea legs when I'm on a ferry or something with some waves, like a rocking ship, and this is what it felt like for me. It really messed with my balance and equilibrium. We actually stayed one night with the bus like this because after we moved the bus, we needed to go to our friend's house. We'd been invited there, so one night, and what an interesting night that was. And then the next day was a bit rainy and what felt like stormy, but we had to get on with it because we didn't want to spend another night at such an angle. So we bought some thick wood and worked out that if we got one on top of the other, we should be fairly close to level. Luke cut them at a diagonal so we could drive up them. It took us 2 goes to get onto the wooden sleepers properly, but we got there in the end. Unfortunately, the front sleeper was just a little bit too far back and we're right at the big front of it, but otherwise it's fine. It's not quite perfectly level, as you'll see later, but we'll be redoing this again and hopefully getting it perfectly soon. This will do until we can spend more time on it. And then the last thing we did was move our TV down because we realized that the TV was obscuring our view and we'd much rather look at the view than at the TV. So we moved it down by about 10 centimeters to gain about 10 centimeters worth of view. Hi everyone, I want to start by apologizing for my voice. I am sick, as you can probably tell. Quite excitingly, we moved the bus to its final location on our land. Luke and I have been preparing to move the bus today. This is the last move we'll be doing in the bus for quite some time. And today is the day we get it down the bottom. And we are going to go down the driveway with the bus today. Luke is currently mowing a spot where we're going to be parking the bus. We need to do it today basically because it's going to start raining tomorrow and it's not going to stop raining for a week. If we've had a week of rain, we wouldn't be able to use the driveway with the bus. So it would just be too wet. We'd have to wait for it to dry and there's no guarantee that would happen. Anyway, so I've been preparing the bus. So as you might remember, we need to get everything off surfaces. We've got the chair up there. I still need to do Luke's desk area. I think he might want to do that actually. But anything that could slide around I've got here. Our coffee stuff is under here. The water, I turned on the water tank. So our beautiful water tank pad that we made, that took, quite a few days of work, manual labor, is no longer going to be used. Once we've got a level spot to put it on, we'll be doing all the same steps. I'm sure we'll document that too. Once we've done that, we'll get that down to the bottom and then we can call the water truck to come and fill our tank. So there's a lot going on. Luke suggested we put these bits of blue tape on all of these because last time after we moved the bus is I opened one of these and something fell out and my mug was in the sink and can you see it? It's got a chip come off and it came off in too many pieces. I couldn't glue it back on. Once it's been open, I can take it off. It's just a visual reminder that it's not been open yet and to be careful and make sure there's nothing underneath. And once it's been open, I can take it off so I know that nothing's gonna fly off. Our plan was to turn on the bus and wait for the air pressure to build up in the airbags, lift itself up, and then we could remove the things we'd done to level the bus. That did not work out because the airbag had come off its seat and it was leaking air, so we weren't able to build the air pressure. We had to jack up the bus by hand using our little bottle jack. It can lift 20 tonne and the bus is 15, so we weren't worried about that. Remove the stands and chocks in the suspension and then bring it back down. Once we'd done that, the bus was then able to build air. Although Luke didn't manage to get the last chock out of the back wheels, we decided that it was good enough and we could do it. It was starting to get dark and we wanted to get down the bottom before dark if possible. We're off. It's only 5 o'clock or something. Alright, we're going to follow Luke. We're not worrying about our stuff. I can go later. Here he is. Oh no, what's happened? Oh, he's going to try and get that last chock out that we didn't get out. That's not too bad then, if that's all it is. Well done, Luke. There's Toffee in the back there.
The curtain rod there.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, it's pretty close.
Yeah. So we're slightly high in the front. So I stopped right here because there's a bit of a hump where the rear wheels are. So
it's lifting us a bit.
Yeah, we'll get out and have a look and just see how the land goes.
Yeah.
but we might be able to correct this a bit just by rolling forward or back.
Okay, great.
But it looks really good side to side. Probably slightly low on the passenger side.
After a hard day's work of lifting a 15-ton bus on a bottle jack, we were very glad to make it home. The next day, as promised, we got 40 mils of rain, so we had a quiet day at home. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, feel free to give it a like. It really helps me out. I upload some Sundays with all sorts of weird and wonderful videos I find interesting, and I hope to see you then. Bye!